Hello.
Hi, Roberto.
Hi, can you hear
I said
me?
good morning, but it's afternoon where you are in China.
Yes, it's 5 o'clock here. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
But good morning to you.
Thank you. um, Tell me a little bit, as I read on Facebook, very touching
Hmm.
what you wrote, very inspiring,
Oh,
and a wonderful positive outlook. Um, Tell me, or maybe we could start by how you experienced the lockdown, because were you in China at the time?
yes, actually, the story is like that. On January 2020, I
Mm.
traveled from China to Italy because my father celebrated 70 years old. So
Okay.
I won't be there. It was a little bit complicated to be there, but I had to be there, and I plan to stay there just for 2 weeks.
Mm.
So can you imagine? I live in China actually. This is my fourth year, and all my clothes, stuff, books, and everything, the score, music score is everything is here in China. So I traveled to Italy just 2 weeks with a small bag and something, like okay, I will spend some time with family. And actually, I arrived, if I remember, the 12th of January.
Mm.
So, and I should travel back to China the 26th of January. So actually, what happened? That's the pandemic start, and I cannot back anymore. And I stayed in Italy around 10 months.
Mm.
So I came back to China October 23.
But let me
Was
just ask you. So,
mm,
was um, the borders closed to China, or was it already then in Italy that that they were locking
okay.
down?
First, it happened like that. I think in the beginning of February, because I had to travel 26 January, and I delayed my flight 1 week uh, because I was just okay. Let's wait a week to figure out what is happening there. And after this week, exactly the same day I have to fly to China, Italy closed the flight, the direct
Oh,
flight to China.
okay.
So
Mm.
it was the first step actually. And because I worked for orchestra and university, my university asked me, please do not come back right now, wait just a little bit.
Mm.
And so I thought, okay, I can stay here February. It is still holiday. We usually start to work at the beginning of March.
Mm.
So the thing was, okay, I am here. I have a longer holiday in Italy. That's be nice.
Yeah.
And in March, at the end of March, actually, China closed the border because the pandemic started in Italy too, and it was really big.
Mm.
Italy was like the second country in the world with a really big, massive pandemic situation.
Mm.
So yeah, and so after that, when China closed the border, I start to feel okay, something is happening. It's not under my control. Something is becoming bigger and bigger. Like it was a small ball of snow that becoming like a
Yeah.
giant ball. It's really
Mm.
really big. So yeah, and after March, I keep working online. Of course, I have. I mean, I was the principal conductor of Guizhou Normal University Orchestra,
Mm.
and of course, the orchestra had no rehearsal that time. But I also teach in Guizhou Normal University, so actually, I had few class online, but situation become worse when actually they didn't not renew my contract. So I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
can you imagine? Can you
Yeah.
imagine? I just planned the 2 weeks, and these 2 weeks become a really big time
Mm.
without anything of my stuff, without books, without computer. My computer, for composer and conductor. I mean, I have everything of my artistic life, video, pictures, photo, everything is there. And so I had to buy all the clothes that I need because it was winter, then springs, then summer. You know, I had
Yeah,
nothing with me.
but did you still have to pay rent where you were in China?
Fortunately, I had one apartment rent by the university, so
Oh,
I had
okay.
not.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately, it was, but after June,
Mm.
in the middle of June, actually, they told me that I will not have a renew about my contract, so the contract will be not renewed
Yeah.
because all the activity was stopped and my contract finished in June. So it was quite complicated, I have to say, because also in Italy, you cannot really work about anything about music at that time. It was everything locked down.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, my life, my career in China is going to, disappeared, and here I cannot even not start. Okay, I will start something here, because
Yeah.
nothing works.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so the things was quite hard in June, really quite hard, and July too, because then summer, summer, even in normal time in Italy, school are closed. Even if I want to teach music, just teach music, was quite hard. And I have no idea when China opened the border again. But I'm making the story short. But in the middle of August, China released a little bit the restriction, and who has a valid visa can apply for a new special visa, because actually the situation was that you cannot back because all the visa was suspended. All the foreigner visas was suspended. Only the people with Chinese nationality, they come back. So
Okay.
so
Even though you had the contract, well, you used to have the contract.
I have a really regular work visa, but if I remember, it was 28th of March. So from the 28th of March, no one can back if you have if you are a foreign person.
Yeah.
No kind of visa, work visa, study visa, no one. And so this was really quite complicated because I felt like I was, a kind of refugee in Italy. And I was like,
Yes.
everything. Can you imagine 3 years? And I felt all that place was my first home, So it was
Yes.
like, and all I built and how hard it was to build things here, learn a new language, learn a new way to work, learn a new way to have a connection with people. Everything was going far and far and far, and the problem would become bigger and bigger. So when they released the restriction, I suddenly applied for the visa, and it was a good decision because it allowed me to have a visa to come back.
Yeah.
And I had to find another job. And it was quite struggling because, find a job from Italy when you have to find a job in China, and the situation in China was going to restart at that time. It was quite normal. I have to say, I think from September, everything was almost normal. So yeah, it was quite hard to find a new job, and please.
But sorry, but were you then allowed again to go and work there?
Actually, yes,
Okay.
but I had to wait around 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Because first of all, you apply for the visa, and then when you apply for the visa, you have to wait that a work permit is ready. So then
I
you are
see. Okay.
allowed to go there and work.
Yeah.
So my visa, I think, was ready around the end of August. And then I had to wait till the after the half of October. So it was quite a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. And but at that time, you cannot imagine how hard it was, because of course, if I get the COVID-19, I mean, I cannot back. They will never allow me to back.
Yeah.
So, and Italy situation was in September was much better, but then worse and worse every day. And then October was quite hard, and I decided to isolate myself. So I make a really long quarantine, because it was like 2 weeks, 17 days before my departure, and then when I arrived in China, I had my quarantine of other 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I must stay super safe, because if I get the sickness, I can really close the chapter about China. So I had to, and I had to, involve also my family in this, because if they went out and they, so everyone was really concerned about these things.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard, really, really hard, because the anxiousness and the feeling that I want to take back my life was every time was super, super high, and I quite complicated, really. So, but after that, I managed it. I did my quarantine in China. I think I make like 10 COVID tests, acid nucleic tests, like 10 times. In during this, there was. And after that, situation was improving. Actually, I had my job in a really nice city that's name is Chongqing. And then after that, I decided to move to another job, because here life is quite normal, so everything and the working side is going like really good. And for musician and arts, China has a really big interest.
Really?
So that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Because I wanted to ask you why China.
This is another story. Actually, the first time I heard about it, I heard about China and China culture and China music was 2015, so 6 years ago. And I read about a really nice article in a newspaper talking about Chinese teenagers study piano. And here there is a really huge amount of teenagers that are not just focused on study and maybe middle school, high school, and they also has a kind of, I don't know, big interest, and maybe the family push them a lot to study music. So a lot of them study piano, a lot of them study cello. And of course, they just not study, like pop music or, national music, but also they study our classical music, so European classical music. And there was a nice comparison between a teenager of China and a teenager of USA. And it was really interesting how to see a new country that is going to develop so much, has so big interest on that. So I decided to say, okay, maybe I can plan. I was working in Milan at that time. And I was doing some research. I was teaching. I was guest conductor of some chamber orchestra. And I decided to take 1 month to travel to China. So I took my month all by myself. It was self-paid and everything. I was on tourism around that. And I realized that this country is going to probably be a part of the future in the cultural development.
Really?
Because
that's interesting.
This is because actually we always see the moment, the day, today, and maybe this year, and maybe last year. But what about in 5 years? What about in 10 years? If we keep closing orchestra in Italy, if we keep going down our musician and my colleagues like that, I really was thinking these months, because everyone is struggling so much. So if a part of the COVID, but also before, there was a big struggling. So if we keep doing that, how will be in 5 years, how will be in 10 years.
Yes.
And so I'm not really good to make, like, to see the future, but what I can feel here, when I was the first time in China and I heard for the first time a Chinese orchestra, mixed orchestra, foreigners and a Chinese musician, and I was like, wow, I mean, here the things are happening. They are playing good. They are giving something. And I was in a small town that the name is Guiyan, and the Guiyan Symphony Orchestra really impressed me. They had a really nice, really, really good Italian American conductor, Rico Saccani, really, really nice. So, I was like, okay, so here something is happening. It was 2016 that time, October 2016. So yeah, and then I had a really nice collaboration with the Guizhou Normal University for the first time. They invited me for 1 week, then they invited me for 1 month. And after the second time, they asked me, okay, maestro, do you want to be our conductor? I say, I had my job in Italy. I was doing my stuff. I also conducted Milano Symphony Orchestra. I don't know if you have heard, his name is La Verdi.
Yeah.
And so, I was fine. I was not really good, but fine. And I say, okay, let's come here. Let's do it. Let's see how it works. If it doesn't work, maybe I back Italy and nothing happened. And it changed my life, actually, because I learned how to stay in a new society with different habits, but at the same times we did so many projects, so many concerts. I had the possibility to make a lot of Italian music here, and Italian opera too. We make Pergolesi opera La Serva Padrona. And it was like the first year everyone was excited because it was a new music. And I'm not sure, probably not the first time in China, but for sure the first time in southwest of China, for sure.
That's amazing.
It was, it's growing. It's beautiful too.
But this is something that I'm really thinking about, and that I would really love if this could change here for us, is that children get more music education. And now it's very interesting that you say in China, and how that actually affects now the whole culture, the art scene. And my thought process is that teaching art should be right next to teaching maths and science, and it should be available to children. It should be compulsory to do those subjects alongside each other, because they are really in many ways connected. I mean, we are not just or if you see how music and the frequency of music affects our bodies, then of course if we learn in biology about the cells of the body, then of course we have to learn about music as well, because it's very linked then in a way. And of course not just music, also all the art forms, but that children get exposed to that, and that they can make then decisions. Because if you haven't had a chance to learn about the different forms of art, then how can you make a decision to say what you are interested in? And this also doesn't mean that I'm saying everybody should become musicians, but I mean, we
absolutely.
We learn maths, but we don't become mathematicians. But we do have to have that as part of development. And there you see it now firsthand, that it's the consequence of teaching children and giving them that opportunity now brings that artistic side to this country.
I think you get a really important point, and that what I can tell you, that here in China, the children education with hearts is absolutely important. And what they are renewing, what is really impressive is how many school, like kindergarten school and elementary school, how they are searching about education. They want to improve.
Amazing.
They want to integrate new system. A lot of people ask to me about Montessori. A lot of people ask it to me because I also studied in my life, like a music education for children, like Gordon. And there are really a lot of systems, and they want to try to create the way to teach the children in a better way.
Amazing.
I mean, they are looking for, and it is quite impressive, because of course in Europe we are doing the same. We always think about how to help our children, but I can feel there is not the same effort, because here they must do, they want to in the same way that they must do. And so they push themselves so much in an economical way, in a working side way. So in the amount of research they do, and they try always to find the better person, the better situation. They don't stop,
Yeah.
And other part is, I always think about it, and I think you get a really important point. Why we need to justify why? I mean, because we teach music. I mean, music is, we are the only creature in the world. I mean, like the humans, we are the only one that make music. And why we need to justify to say, oh yeah, because music is important for children? Because I think there is a concept, a philosophy about art. They are not useful. They are for nothing.
Yeah.
And actually, arts and music and all expression are actually for nothing that is connected to rational things.
Yeah.
But we are absolutely not just rational things.
Yeah.
This concept always, I mean, I was thinking for a really long time about it, and I always think about why we need to justify that we study music. Because we spend money to study music, when music is the everyday source of emotion and give us a lot of different feeling. What about math? What we do with math?
Exactly.
Actually, in my life, math is, I can make 1+1 and these really basic things, but I never make a logarithmic or like geometric things.
But this is, I think this comes from the industrial era, where the science and the maths were very important in the schools, because of course, they built factories and new things were invented. So the focus was on that, and I think we've moved away from that, because if you just look at what research have discovered in the past 5 years, that we cannot look just scientifically at the body. There's more to a person, and this is also now in this pandemic. What I'm thinking is, why cannot they cannot predict who gets this virus and why they get it, and how they get it. So this means that there are really more to us than just the science. But of course, I live on cloud 9, so I don't need maths and science here where I live. I think I really think, and it's like you say, it's, if I heard a young composer said that he went to a school and for a few days and taught a bit of composing to children, and how amazing what they came up with, and if you think they're children and they didn't have any background in composing, but it comes out so naturally in them. And if you also hear young children singing, without any knowledge of breathing and all that, and it comes so natural. And if we can use that that natural instinct, or the natural I wouldn't even say talent, but just the love of it. But
like a possibility.
and you know, it's like you don't have to, it's like I say, you don't have to become a musician. But what, you know, I saw, I thought about this when we had this terrorist attack in Vienna. I so thought, what is really the only thing now to bring comfort is music. And you know, and how people, what people did there by placing these candles, and by writing things, and by drawing on the floor, on the ground, hearts. And it's all art, you know. This is what they did. So the natural expression of people in a situation like that is art. And I think if we could allow children to do that, then of course in just by their development, you know, when things are hard and days are tough, they would know how to overcome it, and they would have a different mindset to overcome it. So I wish, I really wish that we could do something, and I almost hope that musicians will take the lead in this, to say this is important now, because also we have to ensure the next generation of audiences, and also the next generation of artists.
And I think if you want to know my experience, for example, what was really important for me the year that I was here in China, it was because I cannot really speak Chinese the first year. Now I can speak, but not really good. So, but the point was that I must use something to communicate with my student, with my orchestra. And the only one first tools of communication that I used was singing. And the second one was maybe gestures, body language, and you know. But the first one was singing, and using the music as a tool of communication. For example, you know, how to get a student study in a better way. You must explain to him a kind of method. Okay, that can be a kind of checklist. Let's say that. But the point was, you have to show him how the music is. So this was my way. I mean, I tried to show to them, to the orchestra, and to the student, how the music should be. And after that, I cannot really explain why in the first year, but I trust them. I trust them. They can understand me, just, you know, communicating in this kind of way. And I have to say, the results of this, I clearly see after 3 years of work, because my student and my orchestra, they became much more musical. You know, the inner musicality, they developed so much, because they also, you know, try to felt every piece, every aria, every symphony movement in a different way. Not rational thinking, but listening me maybe singing or them playing. You know, I did crazy things because I want they listen themselves. So sometimes I was sit with them, sometimes I was put in the middle and try look to them. Don't look to your score. Listen what the flute is playing and what you play. So I never make, you know, like a big class explaining, oh yes, because the flute is in this tonality and you have these things and then you have, you know, no, I just ask them be more musical listening and develop yourself day by day. It takes maybe longer time, but I have to say, I think it works, and it works in a country where I cannot really speak so many words the first year. It worked in a situation where they look to me as, oh, this professor, we don't know what he really wants, you know?
Yeah.
So it just naturally happened,
Mm.
just pushing them to be more musical, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you say is really important, because
Well,
this
if you
is,
just
please,
okay.
I mean, this is just for, I mean, we are human, and this is
Mm.
our life, and this is what we live every day. And the music, I suppose, in different kind of ways, is everywhere every day.
Yeah.
The big problem, I think, is that for a lot of people, they just can see a small part of music.
Mm.
And I don't know why they are scared to see the other parts, the other, let's say, genre. I don't know why they are scared to meet orchestra. Everyone is really scared, and
Mm.
scared to be bored, actually.
Yeah.
Yesterday night, I was speaking with Italy, and I mean, the point is, why you don't spend the same money that you used to go to dinner to go to theater?
Yes.
Why?
Mm.
It's an experience. It's amazing experience. Also, if you don't know the music really good, I mean, you
Yeah.
have 60, 80 people playing, singing for you, and you can see amazing scenery, and I don't know, and we have beautiful theater in Europe. So why? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
But
exactly the same money. So
yeah, but this comes back to the sense that when we teach young children this to get to know music and to be
yeah,
not, like you say, not to be scared of it, not to think it's something that they can't do, because I think many people
yeah,
think it's above them, or it's, and I think many people have that idea of going to a concert as well, that it's above me, or I cannot afford it, or it wouldn't be something that I would uh, sit and listen to. Yet when they get exposed to it, and this is actually something that I thought about during this time as well, because over the summer, uh, I saw more students playing outside in the streets
oh,
and in the parks than usually. Usually, it's just your normal street artists that that
hmm,
that do that. And I was actually thinking that also in that sense, it was very informal. It was, they were in jeans and t-shirts, and of course the whole atmosphere was very informal. And then how people walked past and people stood, and I just wondered always, there could be the possibility of children walking past or people walking past who necessarily wouldn't go to a classical music concert,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
sure.
then they hear this and they see these musicians interact with each other, and also the musicians then interacting with the passers-by. If that also makes that just a little bit relaxed and a little bit more approachable than this idea of going to a concert hall and everybody's
Yeah,
dressed up, and so
yeah,
that it's that link that we
yeah.
now have the possibility. And also then online, for example, musicians playing in their living rooms or in their bedrooms, uh, that it's a different connection to the artist and to the music then.
I think that maybe slowly underground something is changing.
Mm.
And as I can see, for example, there are new methods of teaching music. I hope that it will get from um, the childhood, all the people more near to all kind of music. Actually, the big problem, I think, is that we, for example, take this. Um, a lot of people cannot sing. They
Mm.
are not in tune.
Yeah.
No, they make terrible sound. actually this learning process. When we born, we have the ability to sing maybe a small range of notes, but we have this ability because we have actually a natural skill to listen and then to reproduce the sound. What happens is we don't do that if we are not used, if we don't listen, because this is the big problem. So, and it's also for professional musicians, this can be a big problem. And the point, I think, is that we consider the music like something like an object. And so this object must be economically, let's say, advantage, must give us something, okay? So we study music because we want to have some advantage, no? But the point is, it cannot be, because it's part of us. We are music. I'm music, you are music. When you do music, you are music. When you sing, you are music. When you listen, actually, we are part of music. Because music is nothing, it's nowhere.
Yeah, but
so
even isn't it that isn't it that the speaking is also actually a rhythm and
absolutely. I love Chinese because they have this way to speak that is really they have inner rhythm, and they have 4 tones, and these tones change the meaning. So actually in Western language, as I know, in Europe, we don't have this kind of approach. So you can have the same, let's say, sound with a different accent that have different meaning. So your listening must be okay. Of course, you put the word in the context, but the listening must be quite good, and the memory too. So yeah, this is the point. I think that we need to get all the people more near to what is music and why it's so important. And if we have something important that is not in the categories of economic, like I don't know to say, but cannot give us economic advantage. Also if can, but we have to start from this. This is something that we have to teach, as maybe we have to teach people to write. It's the same.
But I mean, value, like you say, the value of something comes with the appreciation of it. And at the moment, there's no appreciation, but the appreciation again has to come from knowledge, to know why you're appreciating this. And I think this is why I'm saying, why I'm thinking, where do we start? We have to start with children. We have to start with that education, because that will, if we blame the politicians now, we're saying the politicians who are now making the decisions not to open theaters, for example, but they are the generation who don't understand the arts and the importance of the arts. So you will not change them now by, and I mean, you can change them by maybe also giving them the information, but I think they are just the proof or the result of a generation that hasn't been educated and doesn't have the appreciation of because they are representative of this generation, the politicians. So this is why I'm saying, and I don't know, I almost have this idea of this lockdown of the arts specifically, as if it's a time to really reflect and to think this through, because now we're depriving also the audiences. It's not just the musicians, but it's really the audiences who need this as well, who are also deprived of it. And so this is my opinion of it.
I think this is a good chance to change, not just for the audience, not just for the politician, but also for the musician.
Yeah.
We really need to change our view. Our intellectual view must be different now, because we have to, we need to see something that we never saw, that also we are losing. Talking about classical music and orchestral music, we are losing audience, because we are not really good to make music proposal.
Yeah.
I am quite sure that I don't believe just because people doesn't know. Okay, if people doesn't know, you must get them know, and you must push the politics to create opportunity for everyone to get them know. But at the same time, you know, our audience is get bored also because we get them bored, you know. Was also a part of our fault, and we cannot really show them where is the beauty. We studied, I mean, I study, let's talk about something easy, for example, Italian opera Traviata. I studied that for maybe 20 years of my life. And you know what's really nice to do here, for example, in China, and I did last year, I do a concert class. It's amazing. And you know, you never know what can happen, because young people, university students, they come to the class maybe because they just want to do something fancy, and you know, oh, I go this part to do this. But then, I mean, if you can talk to them, not, you know, like you are teaching them, but you are telling them the story at the same time, you are showing to them the beauty of this story and of this music, they get so interested, and this is a big change. So I think we must, this lockdown must give us opportunity to think about it and to push us to make something different in the future. This is so important. This, if not, we just die under the big wave of this COVID, and nothing will change, and we just wait for a new work, or maybe the same work, and you know, like we are here to blame someone and complain about this situation. Not just that. We have time, and we have to use our time in really offensive way.
But if I take it, for example, myself, I mean, I'm not very, I didn't know the music industry at all here in Vienna, and I only learned about many things by speaking to artists that I photographed. And I almost have this idea of that's also something that is missing for me, because now I see the people, and now I hear what they go through, but I also hear how they started, how they study, how long they studied. You know, they moved from one country to the other, and why did they go? And it's like, you know, why did you go to China? There's a reason why you went, and you're telling and you're sharing. But it's so little that we hear this. We hear the end result. We hear the performance. We see you in your frock. We see the orchestra in this concert hall. But this story and this what you're sharing, this we don't get the opportunity to hear. And I think that's also part of it, that is very inspirational. For me, it was very inspirational to understand this, and to understand the sacrifice that artists make to be able to do their art. And this is something I think, and this is also why I love to do these talks, is to let people get the opportunity to hear this as well. You know, people who are not musicians, but that they could also hear your story, for example.
When I saw your Facebook page yesterday, I was thinking, why shouldn't do a documentary? I mean, it's this perfect material to create a big, you know, like I don't know, maybe half hour, 1 hour, I don't know. It's, you know, like, and create
Yeah.
a story about what happened there. Maybe it is on your plan. I don't know, but
Yeah. Well,
it is.
I'm writing about this. I'm trying to
Yeah,
write a book about this because there were so many things that I thought about in the time, and that I've learned in the time, and I've learned it as somebody who's not a musician and
yeah,
who doesn't know a lot about music, and this is why, and I started doing the interviews because I wanted more uh, more to know, you know, and
yeah,
of course now I record them because I think, and now I hear so much that I think this needs to be shared. So if I could hear it, then I would
yeah.
love other people to hear it as well. So this is the idea. Um, but yeah, of course, this experience since April, um, never experienced anything like this in my life. Never met as many wonderful, inspirational people. Um, and I really believe that I did it on energy. I when I started off, I said I will not persuade anybody to let me take their picture. I want people to who understand what I'm trying to show,
Yeah.
um, to be part. And of course, there have been critics telling me that I'm showing a false side of the artist. But you know, there was nothing
Why?
false about this. You know, because many artists are smiling in the window, but I've
Okay.
never ever asked anybody to smile, not even in my studio when I take a photo shoot. I
Yeah.
don't ask people to smile. But I think this is the thing. This is this magic that the artists have, is
Mm.
that, you know, we can talk about all these serious things, but the moment they were in the window, they gave me these pictures. I really didn't have to do anything. I really just had to be down in the street with my camera, and they gave me, and you know, all they had was a frame. They just had the
Yeah.
window frame, yet they bring me these wonderful pictures, you know. So this says a lot about the artists as well, you know, that they have this ability to distance themselves for this moment of the
Hmm.
problems and the issues in their heads, you know, and they could just do these wonderful pictures. So yeah, but so it's definitely I also hope that this project would bring some change and some benefit
Yeah. People
to the
must know.
arts, you know.
Yeah.
So
People must know that, and probably even our colleagues must can be useful also for them. I mean, share our thinking, and if we have also proposition. I really worried about a lot of colleagues in Italy and in Europe. They are not working. They have no money actually. A lot of people was not under a contract. A lot of people was freelance, and they are not doing anything. You know,
and you
and
know,
even people.
yeah, many young artists who just started their careers, or people who just became
Yeah,
freelanced, you know, so
yeah,
they didn't have much to show, or so that they could get financial benefit
yeah.
in these times.
Absolutely, this, yeah,
Mm,
really big problem.
yeah.
So yeah, we have to work hard for the future when everything will finish, and I hope
Mm,
people that are in charge can also critics themselves, you know,
yeah.
and see, oh, now we really need to do something for our community. I always talk about it. The important that people that are in charge as a conductor or as a artistic director, or I don't know, uh, must think about their community. And
Mm,
it starts simply when you do a program of the concert. You must think not just what is your own direction about your own proposal, but you must think about the community that you are and that you take care, and what you want bring to them, where you want they grow, where you want they have pleasure, where you want, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And for conductor, for me, for my job, I always think long time before
Mm.
to make the music program. So I wish everywhere in the world there are people that have the same worries, and because we cannot let these beautiful things die.
No.
This is the big
Yeah.
thing. People in the past before us, they did amazing things,
Mm.
really, really beautiful, and they work hard and they suffer a lot. Just think about Mozart. He died poor, without
Yeah.
money, and he wrote
But
beautiful things.
yeah, but now, but this is also why I thought about the story behind the artist, because now we read, we read all these things, we have all this information about him and Beethoven and all these composers. Um, Yet the living musicians and the living composers, they need to also speak and also tell,
Yeah.
and what inspires them, and not just talk about I always think it's wonderful to talk about your the accomplishments, but it's also good to talk about disappointments, because those disappointments
Yeah.
inspire somebody who is also at that point of thinking, you know is it worth it? Am I good enough? And then reading about somebody else who had the same self-doubt or the same obstacles, or and that inspires them to think, if he could do it, I could do it as well.
Yeah.
So that is but I want to quickly ask you, how did you start in music? Did you come from a musical family?
No, my
Really?
family, no one is musician in my family.
Mm.
Everything started actually. I remember I was 7 years old,
Mm.
and in my primary school there was a teacher of music. Actually, he worked like teaching assistant, but he is actually a really good guitar player and piano player. And I had one friend, that started to study with him. I say, oh, I want to study with him too.
Mm.
And everything starts from there. Everything starts from
Okay.
there, and I get so comfortable studying music, and I also start to compose. I
Mm.
was 8 years old,
Wow.
so it was really
Mm.
natural. And
Mm.
after that, I had a lot of conflicts, and you know because when you are in a family that everyone are musicians, study music is quite easier. I don't want to
Yeah.
say easy, but a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
easier, because they know how to help you, they know the process, they know the method, they know which kind of suggestion.
Mm.
If you are in a family that they love you but they have anything to I
Yeah.
mean, they don't know anything about music, it's quite hard.
Yeah.
So, and personally, to be musician for me was a really big decision,
Mm.
big struggle, because I
Really?
cannot really imagine to be a musician.
So
What
what,
the
but what age did you think this was what you want to do? That you really thought
okay,
that you, yeah.
I remember the process was I started to study at 8. I
Mm.
study piano, then I give up, then I start again, and I start to study piano jazz. And after that, I give up again, and I keep doing, like
Mm.
composition things, electronic music. And at the age of 70, I did a lot of things related with music.
Yeah.
And then I choose one university that has nothing to do with music. This IT. Actually, I have a bachelor degree in IT, but
Wow.
at the same time, I wanted to, get from IT some music. So I choose some IT applied to music.
Mm.
And when I was 20, I realized that it was a big mistake.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I was doing something that never make me happy.
Yeah.
Even if I wrote the best computer program for music, it never make me happy.
Yeah.
So at that time, I changed my life. I keep studying. I get my degree, but I start to change my life back on the book of music.
Yeah.
And I went to the Conservatory of Music, study composition.
Yeah.
And then I started study composition. It was a long road, because at that time in Italy you have to study 9 years. So after my 5 years of composition, I can also study conducting, and I start to study conducting.
Wow.
And it's a long story.
But did you have to have play an instrument as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
composer and the conductor, we usually we have to play the piano. So we must be also pianists. So of course I had my piano, studies before when I was a children and teenager.
Yeah.
But I never studied piano in conservatory. I directly studied composition. My first major is in composition.
Composing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one is in orchestral conducting.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I had a really strange process of study, because then I get one scholarship. I went to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, to study there for 1 year and a half. Then I back to Rome, because then I studied in 2 different conservatory in Italy.
Yeah.
And then I get one other scholarship. I went to Poland. And so I studied 1 year in Poland, and at the end, I get my degree also in conducting.
Yeah.
And there start my career. There's more career. I was assistant conductor and all these kind of things. Also, I was there in Poland for other 2 years as assistant conductor.
Yeah.
And then Milano, and then China. So
okay.
Yeah. So but the struggling to be musician, was not easy. It was a big decision, and probably this affect me last year in June, because I put a lot of effort in this decision to be a musician, and I promised to me that I will be. Maybe 20 years ago, I promised to myself that, and I realized a part of my promise, maybe more than a part.
Yeah.
And so when you see that after a lot of struggling, everything is around you, like the walls of your, everything was falling down. It was quite hard. Quite hard.
So did you question? Did it go through your mind then? Really, is this what I want to do?
About music? Oh, a lot of time.
Really?
A lot of time. Really, a lot. I mean, even when I was working, like after my graduation, I was working, doing things and research. Probably till 6 or 7 years ago, I keep questioning myself.
Really?
I really want to do that. Maybe I should open a restaurant,
really?
change.
Yeah.
A lot of time. I think I always remember this. You must see that there's a nice interview to Pavarotti.
Yeah.
And he said every time, the minute before the concert start, he say, why I choose this career? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that we have, like inner question, about to question ourselves and put us, maybe because we wait for the answer. The answer is always beautiful, because the answer is not just, oh yes, I want to do that. But it's oh yes, I feel doing that in a certain way. And this feeling maybe allow me, like permit me to communicate with other people, and maybe to give to the audience something. Because if you don't feel anything when you do the concert, when you perform something, and if you don't love in a certain way your job, and then and then the music that you perform, what you are going to communicate when you perform something, when you're in the concert. We must express something, no, to give to the others. We must feel something. So yeah.
And during this time where you were then back in Italy and you didn't have your music or nothing with you, what was that feeling? I mean, because you couldn't, you know, now I hear musicians, when they can still play the piano, they still, you know, do play different repertoire, and so there's something that they do, but you didn't have anything with you then, your scores and nothing that you can work on.
Yeah, I actually just with me was the score of Madama Butterfly by Puccini, because it was planned that I have to perform it in Vietnam, Saigon, in July 2020, but of course it was not at the end. So, but the big problem was that my routine, I mean, I had orchestra every week, 3-4 times per week, and like professional orchestra, student orchestra, and the contact with the band. I also had a big band when I was in Guyana, and you know, so the relationship when you are like a fish in the water and you are doing the rehearsal, and around you have people that are working with you, they are doing music with you, this kind of feeling was absolutely lost.
Yeah,
I was just myself, and just I can listen, I can study something, but this kind of feeling was lost. And so I think these kind of habits also was lost. And when I back and I had my first rehearsal in China, a friend asked me, can you help me? We have a competition. There is like youth choir, like children and teenager choir. Can you help me a little bit? And I told you, okay, of course, why not? And just, they was not professional, but just that I felt, oh my God, what I'm doing now. I mean, it's like 1 year, I never work, I never had anything about it. What I'm doing now. And luckily it came really like naturally. You know?
But was it also an emotional experience that first time
back? Absolutely,
really?
absolutely.
Yeah, I hear that also a lot. Yeah.
It was like I don't know. I have to tell you, the first rehearsal with orchestra then was much more powerful than the first concert.
Really?
The first concert was, for me, the first rehearsal in general is more important than even the concert. But this first rehearsal with orchestra, the first time, and with this choir was kind of, you know, I was sleeping, or maybe I was die, and then I come back to life.
Oh yeah.
It was, and so if I tell you that, you can imagine something really poetic and romantic things. No, it was really scaring, dramatic, painful, and I have to reactivate a lot of feeling, and you know, like I don't know to say, like I have a lot of sensor in my mind and in my head, and I have to be again in that water and swim again, you know. It was, but was without that, after so many years of working, you feel that you are not yourself. Absolutely. This is the main things. You feel that you are really fragile without that, because it's part of yourself, and not just because we do something, you know, but also because we feel what we do, that we are in love what we do. It's like the music is a kind of I don't know, my love. And if you don't have your love, I mean, you feel bad and you feel sad. But at the same time you feel lost.
Exactly. Now that's amazing how you express that as well. But now I want to know,
Yeah.
Okay, on the light side, on the lighter note.
Yeah.
So so you didn't have all your music and everything, but what did you do in lockdown that you normally wouldn't have done?
Okay.
Did you cook or bake
I
or?
cook a lot of things
Okay,
because
yeah,
I also love to cook.
yeah,
I tell you a fun story. Because of course, even not my stuff was there. I have no
yeah,
apartment, no house. So one time I went to, the fish market because I love fish and I love cook fish. And one time was this fish shop, and they had a giant head of a tuna.
yeah.
So I asked to the seller, can you give it to me because they not sell it. It's too big and too complicated.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah,
one of the like bizarre things that I did, I took this head and I tried to cook it.
yeah,
Like I have to clean and it spend
yeah.
a lot of time. So I cook everything about tuna for maybe 2 weeks.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so I make pasta tuna and tuna grill and a lot of different things,
But
like 20
actually,
kilos.
the fish heads are. I haven't had a fish head, but
Yeah.
I know in South Africa they some people actually make lovely dishes with the fish heads.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the head was like this big,
yeah,
and you can clean all the meat inside and you
yeah.
can eat. But this is, just funny because I have nothing to do. So I
So
try
you do
to
that, yeah,
explore different things.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
and I actually, I try to do some gym as everyone that,
Mm,
and try to read something, try to study Chinese. That
mm,
is other struggling because never time to do that.
mm,
Uh, Try to keep active, and at the same time, I try to make new project and plans.
mm.
Um, I don't know if you saw on my Facebook. Um, I was figuring out how can my knowledge that I use when
Mm,
I do the rehearsal can go in other country, because I have quite strong relationship with Vietnam and Saigon Opera House and
mm.
Saigon Philharmonic Orchestra. And I wanted to do something like a kind of different multimedia concert
Oh,
with
yeah,
me there, but not physically there.
yeah.
So this was like the project of my lockdown, and I
Mm,
create these kind of things. And actually, the idea was give to them the knowledge about one composer, one kind of music, one, like baroque music or whatever, and then at the same time create content, like
yeah.
video contents,
Mm,
and create a kind of educational concert.
mm.
And so at the end, this project was so, I mean, I proposed to them, they was happy, and they asked me to do it, but for like tribute concert for Ennio Morricone.
Yeah.
So we did it, and we shoot the video in Naples,
Mm.
and I wrote a specific score arrangement for this project. And
Amazing.
at the same time, we do video calls when
Mm.
they was rehearsing, and we have a small system where the assistant can tell to the conductor what are the suggestions, what can be better to do in this part and this part.
Yeah.
At the end, you can see, I think on my Facebook,
I
the,
will have a
the
look. Yeah. But this is also great because now it's also a new way of doing something, I think. I think
yeah,
many people also discover new ways of
yeah,
connecting that maybe we reach people uh, in other countries that you don't have to travel necessarily, but you can still um, let them have some of your knowledge and the
yeah,
advantage
yeah.
of what you can give. So
Probably
just
for
a
conductor composer, yeah, please.
yeah. Now just a last question. What is your wish for when this pandemic is all over?
I wish we can find different ways before. I mean, in the past, for example, in Italy, that is the country that I know more. There was big problem about performing, about orchestra, and about classical music and music in general, and musician. I wish they will find a different way and reconsider. About me, I really wish to back to travel, because it's wonderful to travel
Yeah.
and do concert everywhere. Actually, the situation here is totally different than the other part of the world. We have concert. We had, I mean, the last concert I had was January 11. I wish maybe we can do more things with international artists.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think this wish is for everyone. I mean, it's like the restriction to travel and to perform for us is the biggest one that we suffer, because we are actually, I think, musicians everywhere in the world. We are citizens of the earth. We communicate with one language, and our work for performers is to go around in the world and perform. So I think everyone that is a performer wants back to travel and perform and keep doing collaboration and keep doing concert everywhere. This is what I think is what everyone that do my job wants. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there will be a change in the audiences or the way people go to live concerts?
I think maybe we will change.
Okay.
First of all, I'm not really convinced if audience will really get the point. We must get the point first. And probably we miss the audience so much that we really must change our relationship with the audience. And it doesn't mean music proposal and everything start from there must be different. So I'm really on the music side, starting from musician. Everything must start from the musician. I don't know if really people that like common people, I don't know if they really miss concert as we miss, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So probably we have to change our
way. Well, this was now very, very inspirational talking to you and hearing your story and how I cannot imagine what it must have felt like those months and just not being able to go back.
Yeah.
But you have really touched me when I read on Facebook when you wrote this, and also then reflect and see, you know, the positive of many things.
Yeah, I felt, you know, like everything started before the pandemic. I felt my life was growing and fast and doing a lot of projects, and my first butterfly ever was going to be performed in 6 months from January. So I was okay, I am on the, maybe I'm doing good and the waves become bigger and I can take my life. And on the other side, during the lockdown, I felt even not my clothes was with me, you know. It was like I was in my life, someone picked me out and, you know, I don't know, throw me, you know. So I felt, oh wow, we are, maybe our inner side is really fragile, you know. We have really to be ready to confront the future, because maybe the future can happen again. We don't know how to know that, you know. So we must be really ready also to know ourselves that we are not so strong and so powerful, maybe, and we must be ready also for these kind of things.
But maybe
and
we also
handle it.
Yeah, but maybe we also will be a bit more fearless because we now have
Yeah,
experienced,
absolutely.
we have
Absolutely.
experienced this, and so
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
what's next? So yeah, that sort of idea. But
Yeah.
Roberto, I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was really nice. Really nice.
And,
First time I talk about that is for you. I'm really, really happy to share with you.
Thank you
I think
very
your project
much.
is really interesting.
Thank you very much. And would you mind if I share our conversation online?
Of course. Of course.
Thank you
No
very
problem.
much. Yeah.
No problem.
And
Okay.
I hope one day, I don't know, maybe when you're in Vienna, I could meet you in person. That would be such a
yeah.
Yeah. So
I wish as soon as possible to back Europe and spend time there. I really miss.
But please let me know when you're here. I would really love
Of
to
course.
meet you. Yes. Okay.
And if you plan to come to China when all of these things will finish, let me know. I am just 1 hour from Shanghai now, so
oh, thank you
really
so
easy
much.
to
Oh,
get in
wonderful.
touch.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Roberto.
Okay. Thank
Have
you
a
so
lovely
much.
evening. Okay, thank
You
you.
too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.